What we're going to do in the class is to follow the collect, use, get feedback method. Okay, so let's start looking at the expressions. The first one is can't make heads or tails. So can't make heads or tails means that something is just really confusing. It's unclear, you can't really understand it. And so as an example, look at this picture. Is it a duck? Is it a lake? Like what is this thing? Like I can't make heads or tails of this picture, right? Who took it, right? So this is a sort of an expression that we use if something is really confusing. We're trying to look at it, we're trying to think about it, but no matter how hard we try, it just doesn't make sense to us, right? I can't make heads or tails of this thing. So that's our first one. Now let's look at expression 2, and then we'll try to do some example sentences. Can't see the forest for the trees. So the idea here is that if you can't see the forest for the trees, you are so focused on one small little detail that you can't see the big picture. You can't understand the most important parts of a situation because you're too worried about small details. For example, if you're in this class right now and you're so nervous about making one mistake, we might say that you can't see the forest for the trees. It's okay if you make one mistake because the bigger picture is that you're challenging yourself to get out of your comfort zone and practice your English. So if we were looking at this picture of this beautiful forest and all we were doing was looking at one of those trees, we might forget that we're in a forest in the first place. Or if we're talking about a small little detail, guys, we've been debating this small detail for hours. I think we're missing the forest for the trees. There's bigger, more important things for us to talk about. Time to do some examples. Anyone want to try to give me their first example sentence using can't make heads or tails?
When everybody talks at the same time, I can make heads of tails. No?
When everybody talks at the same time, I can't make heads or tails. So this is a good, you're like in the right ballpark, as we like to say, you're very close. But usually when we say I can't make heads or tails, we have to say what we can't make heads or tails of. So something that might fit better here, since you're already saying when everybody talks at the same time, I can't make heads or tails of, I might just say like the conversation. I can't make heads or tails of the conversation. Everyone's talking at the same time. But the important thing is that when we're saying we can't make heads or tails of something, we need the of something part. You can't really just say, I can't make heads or tails. Because then as a native speaker, I'm thinking like, okay, you can't make heads or tails of what? Of me, of my face, of the sky? Like, what can't you make heads or tails of? Okay, but very good example, very good example. Who wants to go next?
I was in an exhibition yesterday. I couldn't make heads or tails for the Mona Lisa portrait.
Can you see any mistake in this sentence? I'll give you a hint. It's somewhere in this area.
Of?
Yes. Couldn't make heads or tails of the Mona Lisa portrait. Next.
Well, when it comes to politicians, I can't make head or tails of their promise.
Are you saying like you don't think that they are going to do what they promise?
Yes.
So that wouldn't really be a good fit for heads or tails, right? Because heads or tails is I don't understand, right? I don't understand what they're talking about. It's confusing. They say a bunch of things and it just doesn't make sense. In your case, it sounds like you're saying like you don't trust them. I don't trust that they're going to follow their promises. So that wouldn't really be a good fit. Can't make heads or tails isn't about trust. It's about I can't understand. It's really confusing. So can you think of maybe something else that you can't make heads or tails of when it comes to politicians?
Well, when it comes to politicians, I can make heads or tails of what are you talking about?
Yeah, so that one's simple, right? So they're always talking about all this stuff. They promise things. They say that we're going to lower taxes or they're going to raise taxes or whatever. I can't make heads or tails what they're talking about. So Patricia,
When you meet a person who speaks Russian and other person speaks English, I can make heads or tails of what are they speaking and understanding.
so are you saying that there's two people, there's a Russian and an English speaker, and they're talking, and then you are listening to this conversation and you're trying to understand?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's see if we can fix a couple things here. So when you meet a person who speaks Russian, what do you think we should put in
And the
here?
other person speaks English.
And the other person speaks English. Okay, I
They
can't
can-
make heads or tails of what they're speaking and understanding.
Or they are speaking.
I think there's one word that fits perfect here. It's not speaking.
Hmm.
You think of another thing
Talking.
Oh,
Talking.
what they're
talking, yes.
of what they're talking. What do you guys think? Does that sound right? I can't make heads or tails of what they're talking.
Talking about.
Yeah, so talking requires an object, right? What they're talking about. But personally, I would just say same. This was a perfect use of can't make heads or tails. So good job.
When I think about COVID, I can't make heads or tails of its power.
Power. Wow. So to me, this is more like I'm amazed. I'm in awe. I can't believe how powerful or influential this
sure.
thing is. Right. And so can't believe doesn't mean you don't understand it. Right. So understand is like, pretend I just explained how to build a computer and you're like, I couldn't make heads or tails of what you're saying. That was really confusing, right? That's different than I can't believe that COVID is so powerful, right? So can't make heads or tails wouldn't really make sense. Now, something else that might make sense here is like, I can't make heads or tails of why people won't wear a mask, right? Like I'm confused. I don't understand why people won't wear a mask in a pandemic, right? But if we're just saying, I can't believe it's so big, like believe is different than understand. Do you want my help with your business English every day? Then check out the Deliberate English Community. It's where I do all of my live classes, publish challenges, and give advice to my students on how to sound more natural, both at work and at home. It's really the best way to start actively practicing your English so you can advance your career and get that job you deserve. I'll see you there.